Hi, I am author Denise Vega. Welcome to another episode of Picture Book Quick Tips. So for the next 5 videos, I'm going to be doing another series, and this one is on abilities. So your picture book abilities. So we're going to be talking about 5 aspects of writing and creating your picture book story that will hopefully help you shape it into a story that readers will love. So our first ability this week is page turnability. And by that, I think you probably can figure out, I mean, how excited is the reader listener in wanting to turn that page and find out what's going to happen on the next page or the next spread. And some of the ways I do that is I look at a few elements. Now, a quick aside, there are some editors who like to see where you envision page breaks in a manuscript in your story, but most often you're not submitting that. You're submitting a nice, clean story, and they will determine where those page breaks are. That's a great exercise for you as a writer to kind of see, do I have enough pages for a picture book, or even to kind of gauge how your story's moving. But generally, you're looking at just having that story straight on. And so how do I do that in my own stories? How do I know that I've got page turnability? I never know absolutely 100% for sure, but some of the things I look for is my story moving forward? Is there a sense of forward movement, of things happening, of the character trying to figure out something? Or if it's not a character driven or plot story of regular narrative, if it's more what I call a non-narrative story, then am I creating scenarios that add enough interest that I want to know what's next? And it might be just the rhythm you've set up in that story, or some other element that helps us want to move it forward. So moving forward, pacing, those two are one way I can gauge whether my story has page turnability. Another way that I gauge if it does is if I'm offering some kind of a question. Now, it could be an actual question that's in the story, or it could be some kind of a lead-in. For example, you might have, when she opened the door, ... and then we want to turn the page to find out who or what's behind the door. So those kinds of elements again, that is part of pacing as well, and story forward movement, but it's also another way that I look at my manuscript and ask myself, am I raising questions that the reader wants an answer to? And they can be very subtle, or they can be very overt. So those are 2 ways that I really look at page turnability, the pacing and the raising of questions. And if you can look to see if your story has those, and you can actually identify them in your picture book and maybe see how many times you see that, you can see if you are going to have a book that a reader just wants to keep turning the pages to find out what's going to happen. So that's this week, page turnability. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about a different ability and helping you incorporate that into your picture book story. Thanks so much. See you next time.